So here's a wild scenario. One of Australia's biggest track stars not only gets shoved mid-race at a major international competition, but days earlier, he's jogging through Glasgow and stumbles into what sounds like a straight-up crime scene. And then he downplays both incidents. That's the Olli Hoare Commonwealth Games drama we're unpacking today. Let me tell you why this story is way more fascinating than just another sports headline. Let's start with the race. Hoare, defending his 1,500-meter gold, gets clipped, faceplants into the track, and immediately starts screaming for a protest. Now, I've watched a lot of track races, but here's what stood out to me: the guy didn't just fall, he launched himself into arguing his case. Why? Because in these moments, athletes aren't just racing opponents, they're battling split-second decisions that could cost them years of preparation. And the fact that officials actually agreed to put him in the final? That's rare. Usually, these protests get denied. So was this a smart tactical move, or did the officials just not want a PR nightmare with an Olympic medalist? Interesting gray area. But here's the twist that hooked me. Days earlier, Hoare and his teammate witness cops breaking up a dispute in Glasgow. Reports immediately scream about a knife incident and a murder. But Hoare pushes back, says the murder everyone's talking about happened miles away. Now, I'm not trying to minimize his experience, but what struck me was his casual line: "It happens everywhere." Wait, is that him being pragmatic or just trying to avoid panic? Because imagine being an athlete in a foreign city where local news is blowing up about violence near your training area. Suddenly, you're not just worrying about your race strategy, you're mentally mapping escape routes. And then there's the detail: he didn't wear his team uniform afterward. He says it's to avoid attention, which sounds logical, until you realize athletes are walking billboards for their countries. But here's the deeper layer: Hoare specifically mentions female athletes being in a more difficult position. So are we seeing a quiet acknowledgement of gendered safety risks? Like, male athletes can maybe blend in, but women face different threats. That's a conversation we rarely have about international sports. What's wild to me is how this mirrors a bigger pattern. We glorify athletes' discipline, their ability to block out distractions, but how do they mentally compartmentalize something like witnessing a violent confrontation days before their biggest race? Hoare acts like it's no big deal, but come on, would you be able to focus? Or is this just the unspoken cost of elite competition? We cheer for their physical resilience, but their mental gymnastics? That's the real sport. Let's circle back to the race protest drama. Hoare gets reinstated, but here's the thing: if he'd stayed down for another second, would they have disqualified him? How much of these decisions are based on merit versus reputation? Because let's be real, refs might have treated an unknown athlete differently. This isn't just about fairness, it's about power dynamics in sports. And Hoare knows it. That's why he fought so hard. So what's the takeaway? For me, it's this: we consume sports as pure competition, but the real game often happens off the track, in the gray areas of safety, media narratives, and the invisible pressures athletes navigate daily. Olli Hoare's week wasn't just about defending a title, it was a masterclass in surviving the chaos around it. What do you think? Could you mentally block out a near miss like that and still sprint toward gold? Drop your thoughts below, because trust me, this is the kind of story that makes you rethink what champion really means.